Do you think the Impossible Burger should be cheaper? I wanted to start working on making a homemade version of the Impossible Burger a lot cheaper, just like I did with the Beyond Burger a few weeks ago. And during my recipe testing, I came across two ingredients that I feel help mimic the Impossible texture and flavor. It's this ingredient and this ingredient. Let me show you what they are and how I got there. So let's get started. We're gonna need 1 cup of basic textured vegetable protein as the base. Now I'm basing all of the ingredients off of the ingredients label on their website, which is soy protein concentrate, which is exactly what TVP is. Now, I've used this in the past, but this is one of the 2 ingredients that makes the Impossible Burger possible for homemade use, and that is potato protein. Potato protein is going to work as a binder and a protein source. It makes that really nice meaty texture. Now, I use this one all the time. This is methyl cellulose. It's a binder and emulsifier. We're going to be using 1.5 tablespoons of it. Now, mushroom seasoning isn't specifically on the ingredients list, but I'm assuming that it's part of the natural flavors. It really creates a nice savory flavor. Speaking of natural, up next is garlic powder and onion powder. Now, on the ingredients label, they have food starch modified, and we don't know what they modified it for, but I'm assuming it's for bite and texture. So we're going to be using arrowroot starch. So let's give that a mix and then start adding our wet ingredients. So the first wet ingredient is going to be Marmite, which is yeast extract. That's also on the ingredients label as well. We're going to be doing about 1 tablespoon of that. Now in the past for iron, I've used blackstrap molasses, which I am going to use a little bit of that here, but I also really wanted to up that irony flavor because according to Impossible, iron is what's responsible for the meaty flavor of meat. So we're going to work on adding a little bit more of that flavor here soon, but first, the very bottom of the ingredients label is soy protein isolate, which is really all liquid aminos is, so we're just going to be adding a touch of that. Now, beetroot powder is not on the Impossible ingredients list, but I know they make some GMOs to come up with that red flavor, but we're just going to replace it here with this. Now, water is at the very top of the ingredients list, so we're going to add 1.25 cups of water. Now, we just need to give this a good mix, and you can see that this mixture is probably one of my more wet burger recipes. That's okay, the potato protein, methyl cellulose, and TVP is going to suck all of that up. So now we just want to give this a cover and let's work on the fat mixture. Now this fat I actually made a few weeks ago and it's the same fat mixture that I use in a lot of my burgers. It works out really well. This one was kind of like an upgraded version and it just starts with about 1 cup of water on a low speed in a blender with about 1.5 tablespoons of methyl cellulose. This version has coconut oil and avocado oil, so we're going to be doing about 1/2 cup of coconut oil and 1/2 cup of avocado oil drizzled in incredibly slow. You need to go incredibly slow, otherwise the oil will not emulsify with the water. Now the last part here where I upgraded is I'm actually adding in about 1 tablespoon of cocoa butter, melted cocoa butter. This is going to help with the mouthfeel and really make this emulsification really come together. You could see it's kind of like a thick mayo. So we're just going to throw this onto a parchment paper lined baking sheet, smooth it out to where it's fairly thin and even, and then we're just going to throw it in the freezer to firm up. So gang, if you could, stick with me for a moment to talk about today's sponsor. Did you know the fastest growing crime in America is identity theft, and there is a new victim every 14 seconds? Imagine trying to log into your email account just to see that the password was changed hours ago. Then you start getting the notifications of activity from your banks, credit cards. That's when the panic sets in. And that's why I'm excited to partner with Aura, today's sponsor. Aura is identity theft protection, fraud monitoring, a VPN, password management, and antivirus software combined into one easy-to-use app. Aura monitors the dark web for your emails, passwords, social security numbers, and if they find anything, they send you notifications fast. Connect your credit and bank accounts and get notified of any changes up to 4 times faster than Aura's competitors. Their VPN allows you to stay anonymous online by keeping your browsing history and personal information safe and encrypted. And their antivirus software will block malware and viruses before they infect your device. Aura has already found one of my emails on the dark web 5 times. That's a little scary. I'm going to take care of that. And I was a little shocked when they found my email on the dark web, so I'm curious, when you sign up, how many times did they find yours? So gang, to protect you and your family from America's fastest growing threat, try Aura free for 2 weeks to see if you or your family's information has been compromised. Start your free trial at aura.com/SauceStache. Aura, thanks for sponsoring today's video and providing me and my audience with this amazing tool to keep them safe online. Okay, now back to that iron issue. Now, one of the ingredients in the Impossible Burger is soy hemoglobin, which is just essentially like hemoglobin, but from soybeans, a legume. Now, have you seen that trick where people use a magnet to pull the iron out of breakfast cereal? I thought maybe that could work with soybeans. Now, this was a stretch, but soybeans do have some iron in them, and so does soy milk. So I thought, I wonder if I submerged a pretty heavy-duty magnet with some soy milk, if I'd be able to extract the iron. And after one overnight, the magnet in the soy milk bath, I pulled the magnet out to find no iron. There was no iron on the magnet, so that was a little disappointing. Now, even though I didn't extract iron from soy milk, I did find some soy-based iron tablets that I wanted to use to extract the iron from. Now, I still needed to extract the iron because these tablets are not just pure iron. They have a bunch of different ingredients in them. So to extract the iron, I'm gonna do something really simple. We're just gonna melt away the cellulose and then pull the iron out with a magnet. And that was just crushing up the tablet, throwing some hot water over it, and let it sit for about 10 minutes. And then what you see here is I have iron. Now, I just wanted to see what flavor the iron was, and wow. Ooh, it tasted like blood, which is gross, but when you get a cut and you taste yourself, what you're tasting is the iron in your blood. And so I can see why this would make the burger taste more like meat. So we're just gonna add that tiny little amount. That's all you're going to need to influence that flavor to get it to taste like the Impossible Burger. So just make sure you mix it up, cover it up, and we're gonna toss it in the freezer just to chill for a moment while we prep the fat to mix the fat in. So out of all of that fat that we made earlier, we only need a quarter of that sheet. So we're just gonna take a quarter of the sheet and then I'm just gonna chop it up into small little bits, probably about the size of chocolate chips. Now I read in a data sheet that the Impossible Burger has about 15% oil. So in this, the measurement's gonna come out to about 80 to 90 grams of this fat mixture. So I got pretty close. We're gonna go a little high end on the fat on this one. So now we just need to pull our TVP mixture out of the freezer. It's chilled, it's ready to roll. Dump your fat mixture into that and then just start kind of folding it in and kneading it in. Once the meat is ready, start prepping up your burgers. I'm gonna weigh these out to about a quarter-pound burger, and then we're just gonna take 2 of these. I'm gonna season them up with my burger seasoning mixture, which is just a little bit of MSG, salt, pepper, and McCormick burger mix. It comes out really good. It's a very tasty burger mix. Then we just need a pan over a medium heat, throw some olive oil in the pan, toss the burgers in, let them cook, let them sizzle. I mean, these things are cooking up really nice. You can also see the color on these is coming out really well, and it's bleeding, which I've seen that before on my burgers, but these are actually kind of like doing kind of like extra. And I gave it a little bit of taste, and it was kind of shocking. The iron really came through on this. I'm hoping I didn't add too much. So now I need to toast the buns, because every time I don't, you yell at me. And then we're gonna add some vegan American cheese. I just got this American cheese from Daya. It's their new American cheese mixtures, and I'll tell you, it's pretty good. I'm really enjoying it. So we're just gonna throw that cheese on top, put a little bit of water in the pan, and cover it up so that way that cheese steams and melts really nicely. Okay, buns are done, cheese is melted. I mean, these came out. These burger patties look pretty incredible. I'll say they look just like the Impossible Burger. Now, I wanted to kind of make this just like a basic cheeseburger. So to do that, we have some reconstituted onions, pickles, mustard, and ketchup. This is our cheeseburger. Now let's see if Monica thinks it tastes like an Impossible Burger.
Yeah, very good. So is this an Impossible Burger or no?
No, this is my new creation.
This is your creation. Yeah, very close to the Impossible Burger. This is really good.
Yeah.
It has a good bite to it. It tastes meaty, just like it's very like impossible to me. It tastes just like a burger.
It's pretty spot on. Wow. Boom.
Boom.
I'm really happy about that. Wow.